You may be asking yourself, what is inside? Just tell us already. It's Intel inside. Obviously, it's a Razer laptop. The packaging that it's in, it's that same kind of canvas feeling cardboard. Uncover. Oh, just snaps open. Thank you for choosing a Razer system. Blah. And there it is. Okay, laptop just comes right out. Letter from the CEO. These are some nice stickers. You got a cleaning cloth, that's nice to include. Product documentation. Oh, that feels nice. So right off the bat, it has a very smooth, machined, industrial look to it that I like. It's not too heavy. I feel like if I'm carrying this around in my, carrying bag in my backpack, something like that, it's not gonna be a problem at all. It comes with a nice, easy tear. This comes right off. Glad that's nice and easy. I have power brick. Thoughts on the power brick. This thing looks pretty big. Obviously, if the Razer blade needs that much power, then that's what you gotta do. But this thing looks just gigantic compared to the size of the laptop itself. Like, okay, there you got your power brick, you got the laptop. It's massive. So one thing to note, the power charger, or the power cord, is reversible, so you can plug it into your laptop either way. I do like that. That's a nice touch. Let's power it on.
Oh, very nice.
So just reading through the spec sheet, the new Razer Blade 15-inch, the 2018 version, it has a 15.6-inch IPS HD display, which is 1920 by 1080, with the 16:9 aspect ratio. One of the models for the Razer Blade 15 does come in 4K, although that wasn't available on the website when I was looking there. The refresh rate, the laptop can come in a 60Hz or a 144Hz model. The processor is an 8th gen Intel Core i7-8750H processor, which has 6 cores and 12 threads, and can go up to 4.1 GHz. It can come with an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060 or a GeForce GTX 1070 Max-Q, which has 8 GB of VRAM. It has the laptop has 16 GB of DDR4 RAM, which can be expandable up to 32 GB. It comes in a 256 GB storage, 512 GB storage model. The operating system that comes with the laptop is Windows 10. It has Intel wireless AC. The input is a multi-point touchscreen. The screen is a touchscreen on certain models. The version I got is clearly not a touchscreen. The touchscreen wasn't available on the website when I ordered. The touchpad is a Glass Precision touchpad with the Dell Precision drivers on it. So far it's been feeling very good. It has a 1 megapixel and 720p webcam built into the top. It has an anti-ghosting keyboard with Razer Chroma backlighting. As far as I/O goes, it has a Thunderbolt 3 USB-C connector, 3 USB 3 connectors, a mini DisplayPort, and an HDMI 2.0 audio and video output. It has built-in stereo speakers in addition to a 3.5mm headphone jack, a microphone. It supports Dolby Atmos and 7.1 codec support with HDMI. Has a built-in 80 watt-hour rechargeable lithium-ion polymer battery, and it comes with a 200 watt power adapter or a 230 watt power adapter depending on the model you get. The laptop weighs about 4.5 pounds depending on the model. Just doing some light typing while I go through and download the basic programs that I usually use, like Chrome, etc. I'm not hating the keyboard. The touchpad is something I'm going to have to get used to. I'm not used to a touchpad. I usually just use a mouse anyways, but the keyboard is pretty well for me. Each of the keys do have a little travel, and they do have a little bit of a clackiness to them. I'm not seeing any problems so far, but if I notice any problems later, I'll bring them up. Overall, everything feels very smooth so far. Let's test out the speakers. Still a little bit of this belly fat left over that's melting down. Folks, I think we might be done. See, it has a good jiggle on it. It's not. I'm not too disappointed with the audio. It's not the most impressive audio that I've heard, but their laptop speakers, I'm satisfied with them. They're good enough for what I'm gonna probably use them for. Now, what would a good review be without some gameplay use? Okay, it is time for the PUBG test. I'm gonna use just the native speakers on the device itself. I don't have all the settings on Ultra. I turned a couple of them down to medium. You can really hear the fan going right now. It's really pushing. Now that the music's off, you might be able to really hear the fan clunking away. It sounds like a rocket ship is taking off. That's something you might want to think about if you're not looking for something with a lot of fan noise. If you weren't playing a game quite so graphic intensive, it might not be so loud. The fan did turn down a little bit, so I'll see if it goes back up. If you're doing something like processing in Premiere, it might be pretty loud as well. So just running around the lobby, the graphics look phenomenal. I mean, the water looks as good as it does in PUBG. The rest of the graphics look fine, even on medium. Overall, the screen just looks very clean. Come upstairs. Got him. Oh, snap. The laptop's pretty good for PUBG. The only thing I really notice is, yeah, the fan is running like crazy. If you're wearing headphones, I don't think it'll be a problem. The keyboard, I didn't notice anything on the keyboard. Around the mouse pad is a little warm. It's actually pretty hot to the touch at the top of the laptop. At the bottom, doesn't feel too warm, except in the back where the fans are, but just underneath the laptop in general, it's pretty warm to the touch. Like if you had it on your lap, it's probably gonna start to heat you up. Since the PUBG test yielded very fan throttling results where the fan would really rev up while playing the game, I also decided to give another game a try where the the graphics and GPU wouldn't be quite as needed. So here I downloaded Baldur's Gate, the Enhanced Edition from Steam. I'm playing that. It's an older game. It shouldn't require nearly as much on the GPU or CPU, and I'm testing how that works. So far, it's been really good. The graphics look as amazing as you could imagine. I haven't noticed any issues with the fan. I don't even hear it at all, even though the volume on the computer is fairly low. Obviously, if you're playing something like a AAA title, PUBG, a fast-paced shooter, or something that has ultra settings on it, if you're playing any games like that, you're probably going to notice the fan revving up, if it's a game that requires a lot of GPU or CPU. On these older games like, Baldur's Gate, maybe games like Lego, things that are pretty simple, I don't notice it as an issue at all. Like I said earlier too, if you're wearing headphones while you're playing, then even if the fan does rev up, it's not going to be an issue. Baldur's Gate, by the way, obviously it's not a sponsor, but it's a great game. There's just a couple other things I've noticed about using the laptop. With the trackpad being as large as it is, if I don't have an external mouse hooked up and I'm only using the mouse pad to navigate around, I am accidentally with my palm or my wrist or something like that bumping into the trackpad, and that moves my mouse around, and that's a bit of a nuisance. It's not too bad if I just carry around a mouse with me, but especially for a laptop trying to be portable, you don't want to carry around a mouse with you and its additional peripheral in addition to the power charger, unless you're trying to just do one day thing, then it does become a little bit of a nuisance. The placement of the right shift button is to the right of the arrow keys. I use both shifts depending on what I'm doing. If I'm gaming, I'm always left shift, but if I'm doing just regular typing, if I'm using the secondary function of the numeric keys on the top, I'm usually doing a right shift. It does take a bit of getting used to. I do like the glowing Razer logo on the back of the laptop. Now that can be turned off as well, left on, and I think it could also be set to a breathing effect. However, they missed an opportunity to make this RGB and have it work with Razer Chroma as well. The backlighting on all the function keys don't have an additional backlight on the individual functions, so if you're in the dark, you can't tell which secondary function is on which function key unless you memorize it. Some people have changed the color, the individual backlighting color of the function keys, so you can tell. There aren't any additional sign-in features on the laptop. There's no biometrics. There's no face scanning. I don't think it's a problem for a laptop in 2018. I know a lot of people like those kinds of features. I don't consider it an issue at all, but again, it's something that you might want to consider. I've noticed a couple different strange kind of buggy things. I don't know if it's a Windows 10 issue or if it's some problem between the hardware in here, but when I'm on something like Hulu and I'm watching and then I move the mouse around, the entire screen will go to my background color and then resume playing instead of just showing the mouse and continue playing smoothly. So there's a couple other tiny little bugs like that. If I open a Chrome window, for example, sometimes the mouse hangs and lags and won't move around until the Chrome actually pops up. The price point's a little high though. The particular model I got it with the GTX 1070 with 250 gigabytes of storage with the 144 hertz screen. Is like $2,200. So they do price it lower if you get obviously the 60 hertz screen, or if you go with the GTX 1060, and it can go much higher if you went with a 4K display, if that model's available, or if you went with the 500 gigabytes of storage. But it is a little pricey. I know there's a lot of other gaming laptops out there with similar specs, and I think comparable hardware that you could probably get for significantly cheaper. So they are definitely paying an upmark for the Razer brand. As far as the fan goes and thermals go, if you're doing normal every kind of day-to-day activities, I just did a real quick simple test, watched a 45-minute episode of Vikings on Hulu with the laptop on my lap. I didn't notice any heating issues. I didn't notice the fan speed up or overpower the speakers at all, and the speakers were actually pretty good and gave a decent volume. So I was very satisfied with all of that. One thing that I also consider a con about the laptop is the lack of dedicated left and right mouse buttons on the mouse pad. I'm always a fan of a actual hardware clicky button that I can use, or a separate button that I can use, so that while I'm scrolling around with the mouse pad, I can do a click without kind of having to stop my scrolling and then doing the click. Especially for gaming, if you don't have an actual mouse with you, find it a lot easier to do it that way. So I think that was a bit of a design mistake in my opinion. Great, all the pros for the laptop. It looks great, it feels nice, has good hardware, it's a pleasure to use, it's a good experience overall. The fan does rev way up when you're playing games, even if they're not completely maxed out on ultra settings. There's a couple quality of life decisions that I think Razer could have made to make the laptop better, like an RGB backlit logo, or additional LEDs for the function keys, lack of the left and right mouse buttons on the mouse pad, a couple small things here and there like that. The right angle connector on the power cord I don't really like because it either forces you to have a weird angle going backwards or covering up some of the ports that are available on the left. But a lot of these things are small and don't really make it a deal breaker. One thing that I have to rant about a little bit though, that did make purchasing the laptop a bit of a hassle. After I initially placed my order, the order was immediately canceled. I went to bed, woke up the next day with an email saying that they had canceled the order for my security. They had to verify my identity in order to place the order for the laptop. That could either be done by getting an authorization code from my bank or by providing a couple additional details. They didn't ask anything sketchy like social security. I tried to get an authorization code from my bank. However, the purchasing on the Razer store works, even though they canceled my order. From my bank's perspective, they didn't block the charge, so the bank couldn't issue me an authorization code in order for the purchase to go through because the bank never blocked it in the first place. So I couldn't give Razer an authorization code in order to make my purchase. You know, if you look at the Razer website under the forums, there's a bunch of other people complaining about the exact same thing. On the good side, and I have to give props to Razer here, and you have to give them credit for where credit is due, their customer support was pretty fast. From when I initially placed the order for the laptop to when I ended up replacing the order, I think was a time span of 2 days, or maybe 2.5 days, including the night where I slept after I placed my initial order. So their customer support got back to me pretty quickly. There was no 3 to 4 business days waiting for a response. Kudos to them for that. However, whatever you're doing with the ordering process, you gotta fix. So that's something you want to look into as well. Overall, I'd recommend getting the laptop. I'm having fun with it. Overall, I'm very happy with the laptop. I'm happy I got it. There's a lot of pros for this laptop. A lot of reasons I'd consider getting it. It has great graphics, backlit keyboard, excellent hardware. It's a beast for gaming. On a good whiskey to bad whiskey scale, I'm gonna have to give the laptop a pretty great whiskey. It's not the top shelf, but in between the two shelves. That's it. Let me know what you think. If you own one of these, what has your experiences with it been? If you're considering getting it, why are you thinking about getting it? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Leave a comment. Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Hit the like button if you liked the video. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike button. But tell me why in the comments why you didn't dislike it or things I can improve upon. Hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. I also do a lot of other content. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video.